It's week 4 of our digital declutter challenge. We're almost done, and this week is probably the most important week. We're going to talk about our time. How are we spending our time digitally? Welcome back to the Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell. You'll be notified when the next video goes live. So let's talk about the time we spend digitally. This is my phone. I love it. I spend way too much time on it. And we all talk about how can we spend less time on our phones. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you a few steps that we can take in order to really save that time, to get that time back, and to rein in the amount of time that we're spending on our phones. I'm not going to go into all the research. I'm sure you've heard it. It's everywhere. We're all spending too much time on our phones. It's not great for us. So what can we do to get that time back, to save time and not spend so much time on our phones? The first tip is to create a home base for your phone. Where do you want to put your phone when you come home? For us, it's typically the kitchen counter. We have some chargers there. And so we're going to plug my phone in. And if I plug my phone in, if it needs to be charged, or I just sit it there and I go about my daily business without carrying my phone in my pocket or carrying it with me, this is a great way to be sure that you are not just answering every text the second it comes in, or I'm not mindlessly picking up my phone and scrolling through Instagram. By having a home base, a place that we put our phone when we first come in the door, we're automatically going to be saving a lot of time, and we're going to be taking away some of that time that we would be on our phone. The second tip is to create some downtime on your phone. I have an iPhone, and through Apple, you can go in to your settings and you can choose downtime. Yes, you can absolutely override that if you choose to. You can even set a password to override it. It's very, very simple to do. But what that does is that creates a layer. While that may not completely keep you from going to the app that you've been on for already 30 minutes, or it's past 9 o'clock and you said you wanted to put your phone away after 9, it's creating a layer, a step that you have to go through where you're having to say, I am mentally making the decision that I'm going to go through this step and I'm going to move on to access this app or to be on my phone at this time. So by creating that, we're just creating that extra layer, and it's going to help us with that time that we spend on our phones. And just another tip about downtime, when I want to not be on my phone at night, the best thing for me to do is to plug it in my bathroom. It's around the corner. I can absolutely hear my alarm when it goes off the next morning, but I'm already on Do Not Disturb, so only emergency calls are going to come through. I will still be able to hear those. My phone is not on my nightstand. I have to get out of bed and go get it if I want to get my phone. And I really love, once I get into bed, not having to get back out. So that's a really great way to also help me set up that downtime in the evenings. The third tip is to take a day. Take a digital detox day. Decide today, I am not going to be answering my phone. Today, I am not going to be accessing my phone. I am going to put it somewhere and I'm going to leave it there. Maybe you might need to set some times throughout the day that you check for messages, for phone calls, but that's the only thing you're going to do. I have access to my text messages on my computer. And so if something's really important, I could answer it there. But by taking our phones and saying, I'm putting this away for an entire day, I think you would be surprised how good we feel and how we feel so much more rested when we've taken time away from our phones. The fourth tip is for accountability. You can also use a journal. For me, I like to journal sometimes in my planner. And so at night when I'm looking at the next day, if I'm trying to do a digital detox, which I am going to be doing with you, I'm going to journal and write down how much time did I spend on my phone? We can actually go back in our settings and look and see how much time. And when you see that you spent over 4 hours of the day on your phone, it really blows your mind and makes you think, what could I have done? Now, sure, I have an app called Marco Polo. It's how I keep up with friends. And it's almost like listening to a friend podcast. I'll just sit that there, and maybe while I'm cleaning my bathroom or doing something else, I'm listening to that. So it's not necessarily that I'm on my device the entire time, but you can even go in and look in apps. How much time am I on YouTube? How much time on Instagram? How much time are we spending on these apps? It's really eye-opening. And so we can journal about that, especially if you're trying to take time away. One thing that I found with myself is if I'm in a situation where I feel a little bit awkward, or if I am just bored and maybe I need to be doing something else, but I really don't want to be doing it, I will find that I will grab my phone and I will start mindlessly scrolling. And it is ridiculous the amount of time that we can pass by doing that. So try journaling. That may be something that helps you to be a little bit more accountable. Or Or for accountability's sake, you can ask a friend, hey, let's do this challenge together. Let's challenge ourselves to be on our phones less than an hour a day, or whatever that time period you choose. Decide that this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to check in with my friend every day, and we're going to be accountable to each other, and we're going to see how we can change our lives. When you write down in the evening in your journal, I think you'd be surprised to find the reasons that you access your phone and how you feel on those days where you really haven't touched your phone very much. And the last tip is to create some family rules. I would love to tell you that we created these family rules and we never ever break them, but that is not true. So one of the things that really important to me is dinner. We don't do it every single night, but probably 4 nights a week, we're going to sit down together around the table and we're going to have dinner. I want that to be a phone-free zone. All of us, myself and my husband included, but especially my teenager, we want those phones to be put away. We do not want to be distracted from the most important thing. I'm letting my family know you're the most important. I want to look at you eye to eye. I don't want to be distracted by my phone. Also, till my kids were an adult, really, I had them take their phones out of their room. They had downtime set on their phones where they couldn't access them past a certain time, but we want to charge them in a central location and don't want them in their rooms. As a parent, it's really difficult in this digital age to try to help your kids to create those parameters, but we can't really help them create boundaries if we don't have boundaries of our own. By creating boundaries for myself, I'm also going to be helping to teach my kids to create boundaries for themselves with their devices. I would love to hear from you. How has this digital declutter challenge been for you? Have you enjoyed being able to clean up those digital spaces? If you haven't already, be sure to check out the previous 3 videos, and we're going through 3 steps before we get to this final one. But this final one is really important, and tell me about it. Tell me something that helped you while you're doing a digital detox. Tell me something that was a stumbling block for you. I love to hear from you, and I'm sure everyone else would love to get your input as well. By digitally decluttering and detoxing, we are definitely creating margin in our lives for the good things.